Hi, I'm Maddie McLeod from Zero Waste California, and today we're going to talk about bulk food shopping. What is bulk anyway? It's not just the sound you make when you're sick. And we're not just talking about those Costco-sized pallets of pretzels, 5 barrels for $12. That's bulk wholesale. Zero waste bulk is much different. In zero waste terms, bulk means totally package free. Maybe you've seen a bulk section or a bulk aisle in your local grocery store. Some stores, like Rainbow Grocery in San Francisco, have tons of bulk options and refill options. But if you haven't seen a bulk aisle, they look something like this. Instead of bins, some stores just have big barrels full of bulk ingredients. It's awesome. So why buy bulk? Besides the fact that it will allow you to buy ingredients without bringing any packaging into your home. Hey, George. You'll also end up spending less money. Sometimes consumers pay 60% or more just because of packaging. In fact, if you watch some of my recipe videos, I compare the prices of bulk ingredients to their packaged counterparts, and the difference is quite staggering. On top of that, you might find that you're actually eating healthier. Cutting these packaged and processed foods out of our diet is really good for the planet and really good for our bodies. Since starting the zero waste process, I have been eating more whole grains, nuts, seeds, when all I used to eat was chips, cookies, and sugary cereals. So how do you buy bulk food without creating any waste? The key is to bring your own reusable bags to fill. Where can you get them? Just about anywhere, sometimes even at the grocery store. You can even make your own. These are the kind I use, and I really like them because it actually has the tear weight indicated right on the bag. That's how much the bag weighs. Why is that important? Well, if the cashier doesn't tear the weight, which means reduce it from the total weight of the purchase, then you're paying for the weight of the bag too. So for example, if you are buying 80 ounces of flour and your bag weighs 10 ounces, if the cashier doesn't tear the bag weight, now you're paying for 90 ounces of flour. Make sense? To me, this isn't a big deal all the time. For the cheaper items, if the difference is nominal, I probably won't have the cashier tear the weight. But that's not always the case, especially with spices or other more expensive ingredients. For things like that, I recommend using a jar instead of a bag for a few reasons. One, less chance of spillage, so less chance of waste. And secondly, say I fill a smaller bag like this with paprika. When I dump that into my jar at home, there's going to be a lot of red residue in here, which means I've wasted spices in the bag and now I have to wash the bag to get the spices out. Not ideal. But since this is obviously a lot heavier than a cloth bag, I definitely want to make sure the cashier is carrying the weight of it, which means I have to weigh it before I fill it. But don't worry, stores will provide scales for you. And if they don't, another important thing to mention is that you should remove all the labels from your spice jars if you're going to reuse them, just so there's no confusion and the cashier knows that you're buying a bulk spice and not just that other jar of spice again. That's why I generally prefer to buy my spices at designated spice retail stores or at zero waste stores. They're a little more comfortable with the whole tearing concept, and generally the spices are a lot fresher. The bring your own bag concept carries over to the produce section too. So when you're buying fruits and vegetables, ideally you should be looking for things that are free of packaging. So no plastic bags, no plastic cartons. Paper cartons are okay because that's compostable. Or don't use any bag at all. Just lay them flat on top of your grocery bag. There's no reason to waste a single-use plastic bag that will only be used for maybe a few minutes, maybe a few days, and then end up in landfill. And that goes for tags as well. So stores will usually provide you with twist ties or stickers or plastic tags so you can write down the item code, which the cashier will use to ring you up. Sometimes this is called a PLU or a PLU code, but it's going to be a number that's on the front of the bin. So instead of using their materials, which again will probably end up in landfill, just use your phone. Some people just take a picture of the front of the bin and then show it to the cashier. Personally, I make a grocery list on my Notepad app, and as I get that item, I write the item code next to it, and that indicates to me that I didn't forget it. So here are a few more quick tips for buying in bulk. Making a list is just as important as trying not to go shopping when you're in a hurry. The reason being, if you don't make a list or if you're in a hurry, you might cut corners and you might forget things. If you forget things and you need them urgently, you might be tempted to go to like a local convenience store to buy the item there, which is going to be more expensive and packaged, probably in plastic. Next, try to shop the perimeter of the store. Generally, that's where you're going to find the produce, the healthy foods, the fresh foods, and ideally the bulk aisle. Of course, if your bulk aisle is in the middle of the store, don't listen to this tip. But oftentimes, the center of grocery stores is where we're going to find our packaged processed foods. Chips, cookies, sodas, concentrated sugary juices, things like that. That again, are really bad for the planet, not very good for us either. When you're ready to check out, have those codes ready. We're trying to positively influence people, so we want to be ready, we want to be confident, we want to be friendly. So smile! Because remember, we're trying to convince people that these changes to our habits are not only doable, but they're actually beneficial. Don't make the cashier fumble through the book of codes trying to figure out what you have in that bag. That's gonna hold up the line and make some people very unhappy. This next tip might seem obvious, but try to buy some grocery bags that are of a slightly higher quality than your typical $1 reusable bag. There's a reason for this. As tempting as the cheap reusable bags might be, they're cheap for a reason. They usually don't last very long, maybe 1 or 2 trips. I'll tell you a story. Eva was reading a forum on Reddit called Ask Reddit, and the question was from a guy, and he was asking, what gift can he get this girl who he's really been into, but quite clearly was not into him. He's bought her things before, he takes her out all the time, but she continues to see other men and generally just wasn't very interested in him. So the top comment was, get her a bag from Foodland, which I didn't understand at the time, but Foodland is a grocery store chain in Hawaii, and apparently their bags are really special. I don't know why. So when Eva was there, he thought it would be funny and he bought a Foodland bag. And yeah, I mean, it's cute as heck. But we've used it like no time, maybe once, and it's already ripping. So now this is more of like a novelty souvenir. Maybe I'll frame it because I do think the picture's really cute, but you get what you pay for. So maybe spend $5 to $10 on a reusable grocery bag and try to avoid those $1 cheap options because they are flimsy and they will not last. Tip number last. Though many bulk ingredients look pretty, only buy things that you're actually going to eat. I think having glass jars filled with bulk ingredients has a really nice aesthetic appeal, but that shouldn't just be the only reason you're buying it. Just a happy result. The purpose of package-free food is to have food on hand that you will actually eat. And don't go overboard. In hindsight, I probably didn't need to buy a whole pound of nutritional yeast. That's a lot to go through. I hope you found these tips to be helpful, and if you haven't tried bulk shopping yet, I hope it inspires you to go out and give it a try. Thanks for watching. See you next week.